lesson on page 32, paragraphs 13 and 14 under that subheading of how Satan's world will be removed. So why don't you get us started? Go ahead and read paragraph 13.
Okay. With each passing year, the world is becoming more and more dangerous. It is overrun with warring armies, dishonest politicians, hypocritical religious leaders, and hardened criminals. The world as a whole is becoming beyond reform. The Bible reveals that the time is near when God will eliminate this wicked world during his war of Armageddon. This will make way for a righteous new world.
Okay, so the question asks, why is there a need for a new world?
Because the world is becoming more dangerous.
Yes, it definitely is. And do you agree with the description given there in the paragraph of the situation in the world and that we do need a new world?
Yes, I most definitely agree. I see people becoming more and more violent and corrupt each year each coming year. And by all this terrorism that's going on, things just get worse.
Yes, I agree with you. But we see here that the Bible tells us soon that God promises to eliminate this wicked world during his war of Armageddon. Now, you've probably heard that term Armageddon before, but what are your thoughts on what Armageddon is?
Well, I only know what I've heard or seen in the movies, where the world comes to an end by nuclear war or some natural disasters happening at once.
Yeah, that's what most people think of when they think of Armageddon. But now, I talked to you last week about your preparation for this week and told you to make sure you read Revelation 16, 14 through 16. So when you read that, did you understand what Armageddon will actually be?
Well, I think so. It said it would be a war between God and the kings of the earth. I know kings are rulers, so would that be the governments?
Yes, that's right. Very good reasoning. So as the paragraph mentioned, Armageddon is going to be God's means of eliminating this wicked world. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does, and it's good to know that.
Yes, it is. So, okay, good. Let's go ahead then and move on to paragraph 14 and see that once Satan's world is removed, what's going to replace it. So why don't you read paragraph 14?
Okay. Jehovah God selected Jesus Christ to be ruler of his heavenly kingdom or government. Long ago, the Bible foretold, a child has been born to us, a son has been given to us, and the government will rest on his shoulders. His name will be called Prince of Peace. To the increase of his government and to peace, there will be no end. Regarding this government, Jesus taught his followers to pray, let your kingdom come, let your will take place, as in heaven, also on earth. As we will see later in this book, God's kingdom will remove all the governments of this world, and it itself will replace all of them. Then God's kingdom will usher in an earthly paradise.
Okay, so the question asks, whom has God selected to be ruler of his kingdom, and how was this foretold?
Well, God selected Jesus Christ to be selected as the ruler of his kingdom. And according to Isaiah chapter 9, 6, and 7, it states a child has been born to us, and the government will rest on his shoulders.
Very good. And then did you recognize that scripture that's quoted there in the paragraph in Matthew chapter 6, verse 10?
Yeah, that's the Lord's Prayer. I pray that prayer all the time.
Yeah, so you've actually been praying for God's kingdom to remove all other governments and replace it with his government. But now let's see how the Bible supports that statement. Let's go to that scripture that tells us to read there in Daniel chapter 2, verse 44, and see that